Hi, I'm Tim Thomas. I'm here with my friend Juan Curay, and we're talking about the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. And we're starting out today working through the front of the book, with both John Maxwell team members. And we're creating a growth plan together, each our own. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we've stumbled on as we go through it. And in the very front part of the book, it talks about potential, right? So potential is one of the most wonderful words in any language. It looks forward with optimism. It is filled with hope. It promises success. It implies fulfillment. It hints at greatness. Potential is a word based on possibilities. Think about your potential as a human being and you get excited. At least I hope you do. What a positive thought. I believe in your potential just as much as I believe in mine. Do you have potential? Absolutely. So, Juan, you said you had highlighted that when we were talking earlier. What are your comments on potential?
Oh, well, I, I believe that potential, every human being in this world have potential. And I am aware of about my potential now. And I want to achieve my potential. And one of the things that this book asked me is what about unfulfilled potential? And then I think that that was happening with me. Uh, I I I experienced this unfulfilled potential for a long period of time in my life, and I wasn't happy. I struggled with some things. And now reading this book because I am following the recipe of the recommendations that John Maxwell teaches in this book is okay. Stay with this chapter 1 week, and then I started to read and read and read and think and rethink about these concepts. And yeah, you're right. As a human being, I have potential. Potential. The only way to reach my potential is by growing by growing in a personal way to having a growth plan that is what I want to work on and being intentional about this process of growth and uh, and the last part is being awareness, no? Is being aware or having this awareness in life. Okay, what is my potential? How can I achieve my potential? And also what are my lacks, or what are the struggles they have, and that's it.
That's fantastic. And thank you for sharing that and being so open. You know, as we move in, right, the first chapter is the law of intentionality, right? Growth doesn't just happen, right? Life is now in session. Are you present? I hope so, right? We want to be intentional with our lives. What did you think of the chapter? What was the highlight for you? You know, what struck you and stuck out the most in that chapter?
I when I read the first time this chapter, I I passed by this line, but I didn't think about this before. No? The second time I read this chapter, I highlight this. I highlighted this. I don't know if you are able to see it.
Yeah.
Is, do you have a plan for your personal growth? When I read this chapter the first time, I passed through this line and doesn't happen. Nothing happened with me. But I didn't have a plan, or I don't have until now a plan for a personal growth. That is maybe the reason that I am experiencing this lack of potential. No, no lack of potential, but a lack of growth to achieve that potential in my life. No, that is my decision, and that is my intention to write a plan for personal growth. And the other part that is really important for me, working hard doesn't guarantee success, and hope is not a strategy. I think I worked hard the most part of my life. No, I was proud of being a hard worker. I wanted to stay late in a work. I wanted to do all my effort, put all my effort working. But what about my personal goal? It wasn't a goal in my life. And about the hope, hope is not a strategy. Someday I will grow. That is really a good, interesting paragraph in this book that it caught my attention.
That's fantastic. And some of the things that, you know, stuck out with me, is some of these saying, right? A time comes when you need to stop waiting for the man you want to become and start being the man you want to be. Bruce Springsteen, right? So I started years ago on this journey, and I get to go through this book every year. And Mark Cole really, stresses and makes it known that you should look at this book once a year if you're into growth and you're into personal development, right? Because everything changes as we go through. Outside of my faith, this decision to grow has impacted my life more than any other, right? And that's a personal one that's in there. Um, the law of diminishing intent says the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will never actually do it. And that's so true. I have projects that I've put off, and it took me quite a few years to get a few things done. And if I had just stuck to what I knew I should be doing and stayed intentional with it, my life would probably be pretty different at this time. And so now I make sure I get up, I do the things I need to do, and I stick to being intentional with what I have to do. I use my calendar, I make sure I mark things in, and push forward from there. What other things interested you about the chapter?
Okay, um, we can review the growth traps, and maybe we can share. It's just an idea.
Yeah, sure.
We, we can share about a little bit of our experience in life. Maybe, well, if you experience some of these growth traps, for instance, talking about the assumption gap.
Yeah. You know, we grow so fast as kids, and our body is always transforming. And as we become an adult, we assume we're just going to keep growing, right? We're now out of school. We some of us don't further educate ourselves from the time we leave high school. We learn our job, and that's what we do. And if we read a book, it might just be something for entertainment. We watch a movie, it might just be for entertainment. So there's not a lot of personal growth that goes on. And I got out of that when I was in the military. I always have been involved in some type of program or something to try to learn a new skill, whether it be mechanics, carpentry, musical instrument, and even leadership training. I've been involved with the John Maxwell team as an independent trainer and coach for many years, and I still have a lot to learn within the whole leadership training platform. So, yeah, I think that assumption gap is very much. What do you think about the knowledge gap, Juan?
Okay, the knowledge gap. I don't know how to grow. No, that is happening with me right now. Even I have my focus on, and I have I am intentional with my growth. I need a plan to grow. I have to write a plan down about my growing process. But I don't have um, a plan for my growing until now. And then I started to do some things spread out in my calendar, but not with a focus for growing. That is one of the things that I want to have in my life. Um, yeah, this is no.
I hear you there. The next one would be, they call it the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. I think a lot of people get stuck in the timing gap. I was there for quite a few years in my first entry into the coaching world. You just don't feel, you feel like you're a fraud. You don't feel like you know enough. You don't feel like you've learned enough. And at the time I started, I was 32 years old, and there's a lot. My friend had talked to me, and he said, you have a lot of life experience, so it's not all, going to be found in a book. Some of it's got to be found by experience and just doing it. And sometimes it is making a mess.
Okay.
So if that makes sense.
Yeah, I probably want to share about uh, an experience about the assumption gap. Um, what a assumption gap is assume that you will automatically grow in life. And I experienced this in my professional career when I was working in my country. Um, as the years passes by, I really wanted a professional growth in my career. No? Okay, I am working for this company 5 years. Okay, I like, or I want a promotion, and maybe that promotion didn't come, and then I got frustrated. No? I got frustrated, and then another 5 years passed by, and the same thing. No, I I I assume at that time that just staying in a place, that action will will driving me to a growth, in this case a professional growth. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen in that way. Even though I experienced professional growth in my professional life, but it doesn't happen in the way that I really like. I really want. Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I absolutely can understand that. I think everybody has probably been there, frustrated at a job at some point in time. And so, what do you think of the mistake gap? I'm afraid of making mistakes.
That is a huge trap for me. I was always trying to avoid mistakes in life. No, I didn't want to speak in English because I am afraid to making mistakes. I want to be appear in front of people, being this perfect person. No? Being this perfect person who speaks really good, who have a lot of knowledge to share, that is wisdom. But that didn't happen. It's a process of growth. And when I when you told me, because you were the person who told me about this mistake, hey, you want to, you have to make mistakes in life, because it's a process of growth. Don't be afraid, just do it. You were the person that told me, upload some videos on your Facebook account, even you don't speak perfectly English, just do it. And by that encouragement you gave me that day, I started to experience this in my life. Okay, I won't be afraid to make mistakes. And it is true. And it is true that I think that this mistake gap hold me back for a long, long, long period of time in my life. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that one. Getting to hear someone's personal story always makes a big difference, especially when people who are scared, right? We may not want to move forward, we may not know how to move forward, but hearing someone's personal story always makes it easier to say, well, they did it, so maybe I can take the chance on it. The perfection gap, I struggled with it for years. I still do sometimes. I have to actually remind myself to not worry about it and to push ahead. And it doesn't have to be perfect because, you know, Tony Robbins, who I do listen to a lot too, we sitting somewhere one time and he said, "Look all around you. Nature's not perfect. Right? We just have to be okay with it being good, and we may make it better as we get going, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If we're always searching for perfect, we'll always be stuck where we're at because there's always going to be an improvement that can be made. Even when we think something's at its best, that someone will come out with an improvement. You look at how fast the digital age has come, and the technology has just swept so far ahead, and we've got phones now that we can do things that you never could imagine doing years ago. So if we were looking for perfection and just stopped, we probably would have been stuck with pagers.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, and for me, I think that mistake gap and the perfection gap, and just is my personal thought, are related somehow. No? But uh, as I experienced this mistake gap, and I was looking for to be these perfect people, I also expected to be surrounded by people that don't make mistakes and are perfect. And it doesn't happen. It didn't happen in my life. And when I was in front of a person that make a mistake that maybe hurt me because of that mistake, oh, that was something that I really wanted in my life. No? But becoming aware of these mistake, of these gaps, about growing at that, and I am a human being that I make mistakes, and I am not perfect. I I I can be more flexible, uh, accepting this behavior in people. Yeah, I think that changes in my life too.
Awesome. Yeah. So the comparison gap, right? Number 7, others are better than I am.
Oh yeah, th- I I am guilty. I am guilty about this thing. Yeah, I was a person that always was compared myself with others. No, maybe for good, maybe for bad, and I probably thought about this thing. No, trying to this person is better than me. This person is better than me. The other person is I don't know, maybe equal to me, or, or even on the other side of this talk. No? But no, when I reflect about the reflection about this gap in my life, I think it's one of the most difficult one for me because I I I was a person that always have this focus on others, this focus in others, in other people. But no, I am aware now that I am a human being. I am a person that I experience this process of growing. That is willing to experience this process of growing. But it's a huge gap for me. I don't know what you think about it.
Excellent. So the last gap that we'll get to tonight, and we'll have to do the rest of the chapter on another one of our talks, and is the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this, and man, I tell you, you get out there and you see. When I got into personal development, I thought it was going to be so easy to get started, and the changes I needed to see in myself before I really felt good about coaching other people was to go through it myself and to use the material and to grow with the material and then start sharing it with people. And it's a tough road. It's not easy to transform yourself because we have all these gaps that we are either have to get by or make. And like I was explaining to earlier, the gaps that we see, I really feel that you have to kind of my triangle theory that I talk about is you bang from one side to the other. getting closer and closer till you kind of straighten out and get through it. But also that gap in a bridge that, it just doesn't come together. And then when it does, you're able to move smoothly across. Not that it's ever easy. It's there's always going to be challenges, but you get comfortable doing the uncomfortable. And as you do that, it becomes very much. I was listening, to a motivational speaker today, and he was talking about Peyton Manning, and uh, I guess he used to practice for these wet snaps on the football field. So he would get all these footballs wet if they knew there was an opportunity that they were going to be playing on a wet field, that they would actually practice taking these wet snaps, and he actually would perform better because his hands learned how to grab those wet footballs, so they weren't as slippery to him when he got them, and he could actually have some control of it. And I was like, wow, I never even would think of something like that. So, when you look at that process of thinking it would be easier, right? You think of a nice day and it's so easy to get around, but then you think about standing and even just getting soaked in the rain and how it feels to move in your clothes and how tough it is. So, thinking it would be easier, is one of those gaps that, yeah, could take some of the wind out of your sails if you're not ready for it. So in that, right, it talks about people create their own luck. Like I said to you, I don't really believe in luck. I believe it's the preparation, the attitude, and having the opportunity and taking the action, right? And in the book, that's the definition of their own luck, right? But that's my thoughts on that. What are yours?
Oh yeah. Talking about the expectation gap, I thought that it would be easier. That is the concept. Okay, how what can I share about? Okay, yeah. When I okay, this situation about in my life and the life of my wife, when we won a lottery of visas, and we were at that time in April. Oh, I had a lot of expectation about this. Oh my God, I am going to a better place, to a better country, but I wouldn't expect. I I I I I I, I would expect that it would be easier than it really was, because when I came to this country, it's a new language. I didn't know too many people that are willing to help me, and then I started to find for job opportunities, and the job opportunities didn't came out and in the way that I wanted, and it was a tough situation in my life. And then I had to work and work and work and work hard, acquiring this language, trying to increase my networking, trying to meet people, trying to do some stuff in that area, and I think it was or it is a working process, even though it wasn't easy coming to this country, changing my life for good, definitely for good. I have met people that I've never in life. For instance, you are if I stay in my country, I'll never meet you, and I probably never experienced this changing process in my life. I am really I am a blessed person for that situation.
I am as well, Dave. Get the pleasure to meet you, Juan. And, that's all we have for today. As always, I love to end by saying, if you want an opportunity to get the book, I'll drop a link in. You send me an email with why you would want one of these books and how you would follow the growth plan. And I'll drop the email in down below on the actual video. And we'll see about getting you one of these books. Okay. That's the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. And we'll hope to see you soon, and hopefully catch our next talk, which will be coming up in another week. Juan, you have anything to add before we go?
Eh, I want to give you thanks, because you are an important person in my life. You are so inspirational for me. You are having a good impact, incredible impact in my life, and I want to give you thanks from the depth of my heart. Thank you.
You're welcome, and it's always a pleasure. And we'll end on that note. So say goodbye to everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, Tim. Bye. See you.